right, looking at example 3, we are going to factor y to the power of 2, or y squared, plus 13y minus 48. Okay, so we need to find factors that multiply to equal negative 48, and then add together to equal 13, or a positive 13. Since these multiply to be a negative, but add together to be a positive, one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative. So factors of 48, and as you go through this, you might realize or recognize some patterns. I'm sitting here looking at negative 48 and 13, and I know that negative 1, for example, negative 1 times 48, yes, makes a negative 48, but negative 1 plus 48 is definitely not going to equal 13. So you might be able to skip one or two numbers, or one or two factors, to be able to jump up and kind of get some higher numbers that we need. So I'm going to jump to, let's see, we've got negative 1 and 48, so that would be 1 and negative 48, just to complete our list. We've got 2 and 24 is not going to make 13. Let's start with 3. Negative 3 and I believe it's 18. This is why it's handy to have a calculator present, because some of these numbers have lots of factors. 16, 3 and 16, and 3 and negative 16 are factors. We also can do 4, negative 4 and 12, so positive 4 and negative 12. 48 has a lot of factors, so this can go pretty high, but I'm going to stop there and check some of these numbers. So 13, negative 3, and 16. Oh, there we go. We have 13. So negative 3 and 16 works. So y minus 3 and y plus 16 is our factored binomials. Okay, looking at example 4, I have r to the power of 2 minus 2r minus 24. So I'm going to find factors that multiply to equal a negative 24 and add together to be a negative 2. So they're about 2 numbers apart from each other. So 1 and 24 is definitely not going to work. Negative 2 and 12, or positive 2 and negative 12. Let's see, negative 2 plus 12 gives us a positive 10. 2 plus a negative 12 gives us a negative 10. Let's see, 3, yeah, 3 works. Negative 3 and 8, or positive 3 and negative 8. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. That doesn't quite work. 3, 4. Negative 4 and 6. Ooh, I think we might have found our numbers. 4 and 6 are only 2 numbers apart from each other. So 4 times negative 6. 4 plus negative 6 is going to give us that negative 2 that we are looking for. So r plus 4 and r minus 6. Now, I get a lot of questions about this. These are interchangeable. I could have said r minus 6 and r plus 4. The order of those does not matter to me. Okay. Now, example 5 and 6 are a little more difficult. If you notice, if we go back and look at all of our previous examples that we've done today, our leading coefficient, or the number in front of our x squareds, y squareds, r squareds, is all a 1. It's an invisible 1. But with example 5, and you'll see with example 6, is that's not the case. We have a leading coefficient of negative 3. So we have to figure out what to do with that leading coefficient. We're going to have to factor that out, because we want, when we factor in standard form, we want our a, or the first number, to be a positive 1. So I am going to have to divide out, or factor out, that negative 3. So I'm going to take a negative 3 and factor it out. That means I'm going to divide everything by negative 3. So negative 3 divided by negative 3, those are going to cancel out. I'm left with x squared. Negative 27 divided by 3 makes a positive 9x. And negative 60 divided by negative 3 gives me a positive 20. So now I'm dealing with factoring this binomial. I am going to look for numbers that multiply to equal a positive 20 and add together to equal a positive 9. Since these are both positives, I know my factored answers are going to have both plus signs. So again, that's case 1 that we talked about earlier. If both of B and C are positive, or I see 2 plus signs, my factored answer is going to have 2 plus signs as well. So factors of 20, 1 and 20, 2 and 10. You can go through the list. So 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5. Since I don't have to deal with positive and negative, there's just one set of each. 1 plus 20 is 21. 2 plus 10 is 12. But 4 plus 5 is 9, which is what we are looking for. So our factored answer is going to say x plus 4 and x plus 5. And what we can't forget, before I forget, is that negative 3 that we pulled out front needs to go in front of our factored answer as well. That negative 3 here has to go there. It has to go there. We can't leave it by itself. All right, so for example 6, I'm going to let y'all work on this, but I do want to remind y'all, don't forget about that 2 needs to come out. So let's go ahead and factor that out together. And I'm going to remember to write that 2 for my factored answer as well. Everything's going to get divided by 2. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. So you're going to need to think of numbers that multiply to equal 12 and add together to equal 7.